Hey guys, we are in Nanoprepmo mode. So next month, Nanowrimo is going to start. And if you're not familiar with that, that is where a lot of writers write 50,000 words in a month. And I'm going to be participating, and I hope you will too. But one of the things I wanted to talk about before we get into some kind of hints and tips and tricks is figuring out what it is you want out of NaNoWriMo. What will make NaNoWriMo a success for you? I think a lot of people go into it just to see if they can do it, to see if they can really write 50,000 words, and that's a first draft, mind you, in a month. Also, some people do it, I think, to figure out if they have the time or to just get into a habit of writing. And all of these are really good reasons. For myself, I wanted to do it because I tend to be an underwriter, which means that when I first draft a story, it tends to be very bare bones and basic. If it's going to be a 50,000 word story, I'm probably first drafting 30,000 words. And my stories do tend to be shorter. I generally write romance. For NaNoWriMo this year, I'm going to try something I haven't done before, which is a space opera. And it is, by necessity and genre, a bit longer form. And so I'm really wanting to see what it looks like for me to first draft something that long and to, maybe push myself to add a little bit more of the details and stuff in my draft instead of waiting and fill stuff in later. Because right now, kind of my process is I start with an idea, then I move to an outline. Once I have that outline, I write what I call a skeleton draft, which is my first draft. And that draft tends to be dialogue heavy, action heavy, plot heavy. And if there's really important descriptions, I'll add them. But a lot of times it's not very detailed. There's not a lot of, she flicked her hair and looked at him longingly and anything like that. It's this dialogue, this dialogue, this dialogue, this, and pages sometimes of just dialogue and anything important that happened with that. And, the emotions and stuff aren't really turned out. And then my second draft, what I do is I generally take that first draft and I go through it and I kind of take what I'm going to keep from it and then add stuff to it, usually scenes, along with details and descriptions and a lot of the thinking and the emotion and anything that didn't get put in the first time. The first time is very much just that this is kind of the story I want to tell, whereas the second one is really fleshing it out. And again, I love adding new scenes, and one of the things I think is really cool is when I go back and look at the first draft of many of my books, some of the key scenes, some of my favorite scenes in the book aren't there because I didn't know they were important until they were important. So after that, I do a read through and I add to it, and then at that point I send it to beta readers, and once that comes back I do another edit and then send to the editor. So I mean, obviously there's a lot that changes from draft one all the way through, but I'm really excited because I really want to learn to do a slightly longer form. And again, I so am excited about writing a space opera. But the point I was trying to make is it's important to know what you want to get out of NaNoWriMo so that you can make sure that is what you get out of NaNoWriMo. If you aren't sure and you just are like, yeah, I think I'll write a novel in, a month, then when it gets hard, and it will, you're going to be less likely to keep up with it because you're not really gaining anything. And the other thing is you may inadvertently make it so that you don't get what you want because you didn't know what you wanted. For instance, if you want to traditionally publish your book, you're going to want to make sure that you're writing a book that is likely to be picked up by a traditional publisher. So use October to figure out, what are the publishers in the genre you're looking at doing? What are they looking for? What are publishers in general? What do they say they want right now? I know one thing I see a lot is diversity of characters. Another thing I see is, kind of, there are certain plots that they do like and certain ones they don't. Fantasy, I see a lot of, we're not really into dragons right now. We're not really into, the medieval settings. They want something more fresh and different. So by knowing ahead of time if you're trying to traditionally publish, what kind of things are selling well, it can give you kind of more motivation, because it's not just like, okay, I'm going to write this book and then who knows. It's no, I'm writing a book that I think has a good chance of being published. If you're wanting to self-publish and make money, what kind of books are making money? What are the top 100 books on Amazon that are being indie published? What kind of stories are they? Is that something you could write? Is that something you have an interest in? Just so many things like that, where the end result is something specific. And you can know going in, okay, I need diverse characters. So I'll make sure my characters are diverse before I start writing. Or this is a trope that I thought I was going to do, but they don't want me more. So instead of, instead of Europe, let's do ancient Egypt instead for this story. Instead of medieval Europe, Egypt or Rome or wherever people are interested in right now. Another thing, if you're just looking to prove that you can write a novel, that's a good thing. What does that mean to you, and why does it matter? Because you want to know your why. Like I said, for me, I want to get better at this first drafting thing and have more length and be able to focus more on adding details, and write a really long first draft. That's not something I typically do, and it's something I'm working on doing better, especially as a ghostwriter. It's beneficial to kind of pace my stories slower, not just for the enjoyment of the buyers, but also because obviously I get paid a little more if I do that. Plus, it will hopefully make it so that the second draft part is a little bit quicker through. Let's talk real quick too about finding the time for Nanowrimo. So we talked about finding your why. Let's talk about finding the time in November to do it. November is a busy month. You've got Thanksgiving, you're getting ready for Christmas, you've got Black Friday. So when are you going to find time in November to write? And the answer is, you're going to have to give some stuff up in your life. That may be things like, if you watch a lot of TV, maybe you need to have a no TV month in November until your novel's finished. You might, if you get 8 hours of sleep a night, maybe get 6 instead, if you can function on that. And you really have to look at you as a person and what you're willing to give up. For me, a lot of my writing takes place when I am out at my kids' activities. My girls are doing basketball this season. And one of the things that I do is I take a little electronic keyboard called a Neo, which is a really old machine, with me, and I first draft on that. And I do that even now with my writing, but that's one of the ways I fit my writing in. I've taken it, I always carry it with me. 100% of the time, if you see me out and about, I have it with me. When I'm waiting to pick up the kids from school, when I'm waiting at the bus stop, when we've gotten an activity, I'm doing that instead of the other 100 things I could be doing in the car. And another thing you can look at is dictation. I have a speech-to-text app on my phone. I don't like it. It doesn't work well for me, but other people do, and other people have a lot of success with it. I think it depends, number one, on how well trained the app is, and mine's not very well trained. And also probably how clearly you speak, and probably not my best thing either. But, look at the tools that you have to help you be successful, so that at the end of NaNoWriMo, you have whatever it is you're setting out to have. A 50,000 word novel that you don't know what to do with after NaNoWriMo is going to make it pretty hard to push through when it's hard, when you're 5,000 words behind and getting more behind every day. It's so easy to give up. And I don't want you to give up. I want you to get your 50,000 words in, and I want you to beat NaNoWriMo this year, because I'm hoping to beat it. So I would love to hear your why in the comments below, and also if you have any kind of plan of what you're looking to give up. I am going to be a lot less present at my kids' activities, which I already kind of am, but we're doing basketball, and this is our first time doing basketball. So I was kind of excited because I'm like, okay, we're going to have practices and games, and I'm still going to try to watch the games, but I'm definitely going to work at being more, aware. Also, during November, I'm probably going to do a lot less reading, do a lot less YouTube. Just finding any time I can to do a little bit more writing, because even a sprint of 200 or 300 words makes a big difference in your 50,000 words. So, good luck, guys. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. If you've enjoyed this, hit like, and if you'd like more content, hit subscribe. Thanks. Bye.